Looks like we have a major shit show coming. Major shit show. Because it broke today, Breitbart News, Kevin McCarthy is going to be releasing all of the January 6th footage. Let me repeat that. All of the January 6th footage. Oh, this is going to be too good. This is going to be folks, I've been gloating over this. I've been waiting for this moment, for this week to happen. But I'm going to take you back to January 5th, 2021. Actually, the days leading up to January 5th, January 6th. Because I was doing a little research. So this is at Wikipedia. I'm sure this is in the public domain. Right, YouTube? Right? So they talk about the insurrection, January 6th. Official predictions and warnings. This is what it says. In the days leading up to the attack, several organizations monitoring online extremism had been issuing warnings about the event. In an internal report dated December 29th, 2020, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the good old FBI, Minneapolis field office, warned of armed protest at every state capital orchestrated by the far-right Boogaloo movement before Biden's inauguration. Before January 6, 2021, the FBI notified the local Joint Terrorism Task Force of possible impending violence at the Capitol. And the Washington Post reported an internal FBI document on January 5th, which warned of rioters preparing to travel to Washington, setting up these staging areas. But interestingly enough, the FBI did not distribute a formal intelligence bulletin. Now, why was that? In fact, some security specialist said that they had not received any information about this from the FBI or DHS before the event. Robert Conti, the acting chief of the Metropolitan Police Department of the District of Columbia, said after the event that his department had possessed no intelligence indicating the Capitol would be breached. Capitol Police Chief Stephen Sund said his department had developed a plan to respond to First Amendment activities. First Amendment activities. Now, I went and I took a look at some of this footage today. So a shout out to Freedom News that posted this footage here on YouTube. I don't know how long ago they posted it. Could have been the day of. But something that I noticed in that footage is that the people who were breaking TV cameras, knocking over these barriers, I noticed they weren't wearing Trump hats. Go back and look at the footage if you don't believe me. They weren't wearing Trump hats. Now, you may have had some people who were wearing Trump hats. What about Ray Epps? What about Ray Epps? Let me take a sip of my coffee here. Clear my throat. Welcome back to, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Culture Confederacy here. Let me get the cobwebs out of my throat and I'll be good, right? But I submit to you that the footage you saw January 6th isn't the footage you saw. What if, and I'm just throwing this out there, what if this footage was taken the day before on January 5th? And what if it was only taken on one side of the building? And it appears, ladies and gentlemen, as well, that some of these FBI agents may, and I'm just throwing this out there again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, okay? Some of these FBI agents may have been trying to instigate the crowd. The thing that really caught me was this clip, and you've probably seen it, where they try pushing themselves into the rotunda. It wasn't an insurrection. It was an anarchy. It was pure chaos. They were packed in there like sardines. But I believe some people got pepper sprayed. There was a scuffle. And more people were trying to come in to figure out what was going on. And there was one guy in particular who was throwing, I don't know if they were smoke bombs or what have you, at the door. Tattoos all over his head. Didn't fit your typical Trump supporter. And he wasn't wearing a Trump hat. Who was he? Who was he? The guy with all these tattoos on the top of his head. So what if that footage actually was taken the day before? And you had people there on January 6th. We're going to find out when all this footage is released. Way to go, Kevin McCarthy. And I'm not a fan of Kevin McCarthy. I can't stand Republicans or Democrats. But I want to get to the bottom of this. We need to get to the bottom of this to find out what happened so it doesn't happen again. Now, 3 days before the Capitol attack, the department heads of the Capitol Police, the FBI, DHS, labeled this as criminal riotous behavior. And the reports before that, about 1 million people were posting these comments about come armed, it's going to be a bloodless revolution. Where who are these 1 million people who were posting? We don't know their names. In fact, we don't know where those were posted, do we? Seems very vague to me. But the fact that the FBI didn't send this memo out about this large crowd, this event, to these different departments, there's a question there. Was somebody asleep at the wheel? And they were predicting violence. Predicting the violence. On January 5th, the Norfolk field office of the FBI reported plans of violence. An online thread discussed specific calls for violence to include stating, "Be ready to fight. Congress needs to hear glass breaking, doors being kicked in, and blood from their BLM and Pantifa. Slave soldiers being spilled. Get violent. Stop calling this a march or rally or a protest. Go there ready for war." Well, who posted that? Now, there's been talk about the Oath Keepers, the Proud Boys. NBC News reported in June 2021 that the FBI had been asking at least one person charged in involvement in the attack about his possible connections to members of Congress. This trial was set for April 4th, 2022. In May 2022, he was found guilty. I'm not going to go through the list here of all the groups that were involved. But remember Ray Epps? Remember that he changed his tune when he testified before the January 6th committee? And they were estimating crowd size. They were estimating. At first they thought it was going to be 2,000 to maybe 80,000. And then they thought, okay, it might be close to 1 million people. They didn't know how many people were going to be here, but they sure as hell weren't prepared for this. Why was that? But let me hop over to Breitbart and read you a little bit of this article. This is by Matthew Boyle, so this came out today. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy told Breitbart News on Wednesday that he intends to fully release to the public the tens of thousands of hours of U.S. Capitol surveillance footage from January 6, 2021. McCarthy's comments came during a wide-ranging hour-long on-camera interview in the ceremonial U.S. House Speaker's office in his first sit-down interview since Fox News host Tucker Carlson aired on his program some never-before-seen clips of the surveillance footage. Quote, "We just want to make sure we go through them all, and it takes time," he said. Kevin McCarthy said. The first thing that Tucker said, too, he didn't want to show any exits to cause any problems. We asked the Capitol Police, quote, "Were there any concerns?" They came back with one, and we mitigated that. But it was interesting that the one that they had a problem with, Eric Swalwell, had put up on the internet for the past couple years. Now, McCarthy's interview was taped as part of the latest On the Hill video special from Breitbart News, a long-form series of in-depth interviews and specials. And he sat down for one of these in late 2021. Not going to go through that. You know the history behind that. He got rid of Adam Schiff, Eric Swalwell, Ilhan Omar. This latest special focuses on several major issues facing the country, including the threats of the Chinese Communist Party, border crisis, and the debt ceiling. More from the interview will be released in the coming days and weeks. McCarthy's comments about the January 6th surveillance are particularly newsworthy and timely, as this was the most in-depth yet he has gone into explaining his rationale for releasing them, responding to the attacks from the media and people like Democrat Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who melted down on the Senate floor the other day, calling for censorship. And the footage Carlson aired undercut some narratives that the last Congress's January 6th Select Committee put forward. And those of many in establishment media, for instance, Carlson showed tapes of January 6th, reading this to you cold. Protesters inside the Capitol lining up and taking pictures inside. Carlson called them sightseers. Now that's funny. Yeah, some guy taking a brochure off a table is an insurrectionist. What's more, another video Carlson aired shows Capitol police officers walking around inside the Capitol for several minutes with the now infamous QAnon shaman, talked about in my last video. But McCarthy told Breitbart News that Carlson just got the first bite at the apple. Ooh! It's going to be a very big apple, folks. And kind of tart. And that these videos, it won't be a Granny Smith either. And these videos will be released more broadly in the coming weeks as sensitive security information is removed. Oh, this is going to be so much fun. It's going to be a real shit show. Fasten your seatbelts, boys. What did Mr. Bean used to say? Brace yourselves. Brace yourselves. Looks like this roller coaster is going down. Going down fast. 90-degree drop. Is that how you say it? So I thought I'd share it with you, this article with you, talk about what I discovered here at Wikipedia about January 5th, January 6th, 2021. This is all out there in the open. Why the FBI, and there's another clip of an FBI agent, I guess, on a bike, stopping people, asking for their police credentials. But I'm willing to bet that some of this coverage, if not most of what you saw on TV, was probably filmed the day before, and that you had instigators in the crowd who were trying to egg the crowd on, get this thing started. Makes sense, right? Oh, but I'm just a conspiracy theorist, right? No, I'm just a guy who believes in logic, reason, looking things up for myself. I don't need a Republican or Democrat to tell me how to think. I can think on my own, thank you. But let's get to the bottom of this, and let's see this 44... I told you before, we should have a network, the 24/7 January 6th News Network. Nothing but 24/7 of January 6th. Let's see it all, baby. Let's see it all in all its guts and its glory. There you go. That'll be the special. January 6th. Guts and glory. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what to do. Another one-take type. Culture Confederacy. You're saying peace out. Stay safe, everybody. God bless this thing we call the United States. And you know how we do it here. This is where the past crashes with the present. Catch you next time.